Welcome to the show. Today we are talking about 10 must-have games for the PlayStation 3. Ni no Kuni combines the talents of Level 5 and Studio Ghibli to create one of the most interesting JRPGs to date. The story revolves around a boy called Oliver who enters another world with his Welsh fairy companion, Mr. Drippy. The worlds are connected, so if Oliver does not save the day, both worlds will perish. Now the gameplay is mostly standard JRPG fare, which sees you meeting some interesting characters, visiting an array of locations, and resolving a variety of different problems. Now when you combine this with the added inclusion of Pokemon-style monster hunting, you are sure to be kept busy for quite some time. Visually, there's not much to be said. The game looks just like an animated film, and with the hand-drawn cutscenes being provided by Studio Ghibli, everything appears beautiful. The musical score perfectly complements the game and helps elevate the story's more spectacular moments. There are some aspects of the game that will test your patience and irritate you, but Ni no Kuni is a visually stunning game and provides one of the best JRPG experiences available for the PS3. How far will you go to save someone you love? This is the mantra that permeates throughout Heavy Rain's duration and offers up some of gaming's truly emotional moments that should not be missed. Heavy Rain is a lot like Marmite. You either love it or hate it. It's a very polarizing game, and more of an interactive film of sorts. If you're familiar with the previous work of Quantic Dreams, such as Fahrenheit, you'll know exactly what to expect. The action unfolds through the use of various QuickTime events, as well as sections that see you exploring and investigating the various areas that comprise the adventure. In an industry that is drowning in endless shooters and over-the-top bullshit, a game like Heavy Rain is a breath of fresh air. With a few twists and turns along the way, Heavy Rain manages to deliver a gripping story that admittedly at times can be a bit jarring due to some minor plot holes, but with a man like David Cage at the helm, what do you expect? This game is not for everyone, and I'll be the first one to admit that the controls will make you want to bang your head against the fucking wall, and that some of the voice acting borderlines hilarity, but it's hard to dismiss the game on a few flaws due to the huge amount that it gets right. The atmosphere and tone of the narrative was something that truly gripped me, and I believe that it should be experienced by everyone. You're probably getting sick and tired of Ridge Racer appearing on these lists, but I can't help it, I fucking love the series. Ridge Racer 7 is no exception, offering a huge array of vehicles and tracks, as well as a robust online mode which is surprisingly still active to this day. You'll be hard pressed to find a more enjoyable arcade racing experience for the PlayStation 3. I fully acknowledge the likes of Gran Turismo and especially Burnout Paradise, but there is just something about Ridge Racer that keeps me coming back time and time again. Maybe it's the over-the-top music, it could even be the enthusiastic manner of the announcers that comment on your every move as you slip and slide around each track. If you're looking for a fun pick up and play arcade racer, Ridge Racer 7 has got you covered, and with the amount of content included, it's bound to keep you playing for a long time. Vanquish is a third-person, cover-based shooter developed by Platinum Games and published by Sega. Brought to us by Shinji Mikami, the mastermind behind the Resident Evil series, the game in my opinion is nothing short of fantastic. Let's get this out of the way, the story is completely uninspired and won't be winning any awards, but that is not what Vanquish is about. It's all about the gameplay, and on that level Vanquish truly succeeds. The combat is fast and intense, which sees you boosting around the environment whilst dodging attacks and taking down bosses the size of Godzilla. Now the game is not that long and can be completed within about 4 to 5 hours, but with the nature of the gameplay you will find yourself coming back. Basically, if you want to feel like a badass, this is the game for you. It oozes style and confidence and is definitely one of those games that deserves a look. Demon's Souls was made to ruin your life, to make you question your worth as a human being, and ultimately to test the very fringe of your patience. All joking aside though, this game is not for everyone. You will die a lot, there is no question of that, but what makes Demon's Souls special is the way in which it encourages you to get better, to pick up the controller again, and to figure out where you went wrong. It is insanely difficult, but not to the point where it's unfair. The game requires you to trade blows with your enemy, manually dodge, block and parry attacks, while waiting for a clear opening before attacking. game. It requires you to observe your enemy's movements, rather than just rushing in and smashing buttons. You are going to suffer a lot in this game, begging the monsters to give you a break while you roll away trying to reach safety. You'll curse and throw your controller at the screen, but once you beat the game, all your suffering and despair will be lifted. This game provides a true sense of accomplishment to those who are willing to take the time to be patient with the controls and aspects that make up the nightmare. Honestly, it took me a while to get into this game, but once everything clicks, you'll find one of the PlayStation 3's best games. The most intriguing aspect of Journey has to be how the entire adventure is open for interpretation. The game never specifically spells things out and encourages the player to make up their own mind about the events that take place. Journey places you in a beautiful world where the ambiguous character, the environments and the goal create an ambiance that lifts the core theme to a climax throughout the whole game. Everything from the music being on cue to the silence itself helps raise Journey to a totally different level, which brings me to Journey's unique way of handling multiplayer. There are no menus, no chat. If you happen to come across another player, your only way to communicate is by hitting a button that sends out a note of music. This aspect of the game lends itself so nicely to the overall feeling of the experience and goes a long way in immersing yourself in the world. It's an artsy game, but one that I think everyone should try. Journey's minimalist concept, simple gameplay, beautiful visuals and tranquil soundtrack create an experience unlike any other. Admittedly, it is a bit short and only lasts about 2 hours, but it was an adventure that I'll never forget. A nostalgic return to two of the greatest games ever made. The Ico and Shadow of the Colossus collection is definitely something you should check out. Admittedly, it won't be everyone's cup of tea, but the amount on offer here is something that should not be passed up. The improved presentation of the games help introduce Ico and Colossus to a new generation of gamers, while retaining all of the magic experienced during their original releases. Cleaner, crisper visuals, and thankfully a frame rate that doesn't gouge your fucking eyes out are all present and contribute to the overall game, elevating it beyond the PS2 originals. Ico is about a young boy who must escape a strange land with a mysterious girl who is held captive by shadowy creatures. You must work together to solve puzzles, escape enemies and traps, and ultimately win your freedom. Now, Colossus has always been my favourite of the two, and whilst the game keeps the aesthetic qualities of Ico in place, it possesses vastly different gameplay. For a start, it's an open world sandbox adventure, and your main task is to destroy huge giants known as Colossi. Each one possesses their own unique attributes, and half of the battle is devising strategies that will ultimately result in a defeat. These games are truly epic in every sense of the word. You owe it to yourself to try them out. Uncharted 2 is without a doubt one of the best games I've played on the PS3. The single player campaign is absolutely fantastic. The game feels very much like a great adventure movie with likeable characters who try to survive various hectic situations in beautiful parts of the world. Everything about this game screams quality. Gorgeous graphics, convincing voiceover, and intense although not revolutionary gameplay. Uncharted 2 is one of those games that I could not stop playing and was constantly intrigued about what would be happening next. This game fixed a few problems that were present in the first outing. The mechanics and puzzles all feel superior. There's a wider variety of guns, and the overall experience is more complete when compared to Drake's Fortune. Achieving perfection may be impossible, but Uncharted 2 has one hell of a go. If you own a PlayStation 3, you have to buy this game. It's truly a must-have for the system, and in my opinion, the better out of the three available for the PlayStation 3. The amount of hype leading up to Metal Gear Solid 4's release was unprecedented. I mean, here we had a game with the weight of 3 critically acclaimed prequels on its shoulders, promising to give us closure on a story spanning more than 20 years. Okay, that closure came in the form of nanomachines, but it was closure nonetheless. Metal Gear Solid 4 saw a departure from the more Japanese-centric game design of the series' past and embraced a more Western approach to its gameplay and features, including over-the-shoulder aiming and weapon customization that was received well amongst fans. Now, MGS4 does have its faults. As mentioned, there are some serious low points in the story that end up feeling like a bit of a cop-out for veteran fans of the series, but we can hardly be surprised when it is well known that Kojima never even wanted to make this game. Nevertheless, if you enjoy Metal Gear, number 4 will tick all of the boxes and offer you a definitive end to the story of Solid Snake. Naughty Dog's interpretation of the popular zombie outbreak theme that seems to have infected every aspect of gaming and movies is truly special. Where others have failed, this is where Naughty Dog succeeds. The first thing that will grip you when playing the game is how real everything feels. As with most of the studio's games, the amount of detail present within the world is outstanding and manages to draw the player into a rich and emotional adventure that sees you traveling across America to unravel a mysterious viral outbreak and the key to its defeat. When the game took the stage at E3 in 2012, it blew everyone away with its intense gameplay and combat, as well as introducing us to the various mechanics that make up the game, such as the crafting system that sees you creating half of the weapons that you will use throughout the adventure. The Last of Us truly feels like the PlayStation 3 swan song, and if you don't fancy picking it up for the console, the game was kindly remastered for the PS4, which is the best version to get. Well, that was it, guys. I want to thank you for taking the time to check this video out. If you enjoyed it, why not subscribe to the show so you can stay up to date with everything that we're doing. As always, I'll see you next time.